We have so much to talk about. We have so much to laugh about. All here on Finkley.
Hi, this is Grammy-nominated Lavelle Crawford. You know me. But you are watching my man, Michael Finkley, on the Michael Finkley Show. Keep watching. His brother going to play.
On an all-new Michael Finkley, Coach Ivy Ingram is with us. She shares techniques on how to prevent bullying in the workplace. It's a show you don't want to miss. Next Finkley. Next.
If I can make it through the night, just to see a brighter side, 'cause I've been working all my life just to make it.
Hello everybody, welcome to the Michael Finkley Show. Thanks for joining us today. Now I must say this has been on my mind for a while, following your dreams, right? I was watching an interview with Tyler Perry as he was talking about his new movie, which is on Netflix, Medea's Homecoming, which is a great film. You must watch it. Go watch it. Go watch it. And he was talking about doing this interview, following your dreams, how everything that he did aligned with what he was wanting to do for the future. He always saw the bigger picture of it all. And so as I was listening, I'm like, wow, this is the start of something for me, because this has always been a dream, having my own show to inform, educate, and inspire, and I have plans to do so much more in the future as well. And so everything that I've done thus far within my professional career, or just in doing for habit, has led me to this point. So it just made 2 + 2 was 4 for me in this equation. So I appreciate these words. So anything that you have in mind, anything that you are looking to do or looking to get started, start it now, because someone is waiting for you. Align yourself with your dream. Align yourself with your passion. Align yourself with that ultimate mission and goal in mind. And I promise you, you will get to where you need to be in the future. Thank you so much for your words, Mr. Perry. We love you over here at the Michael Finkley Show. Thank you so much. Today's guest, I am so honored to have. I never knew that, well, never crossed my mind that you could be bullied in the workplace in so many different ways and so many different aspects. I have Coach Ivy with us today as she talks about being bullied in the workplace and methods and strategies to how to prevent it. So don't you go away, another cool show. Back in a moment. Coming up, we have Coach Ivy with us. Don't you go away. Back in a moment.
Hi, Barty Toto here, known for the Power of Asking book, Kids for Gratitude, Barty Toto Media, and Disrupt Your Brand podcast. You are watching the Michael Finkley Show.
On the next Michael Finkley, Marty A. Johnson is here as he talks with us about his brand new season of his show, his fantastic team, and future plans. Next Finkley, Monday. Hello everybody, it's Finkley from the Finkley Experience. We're an educational consulting firm that specializes in first-generation education. So we assist students with their college and career endeavors. We train school administrators on the state of first-generation students. And also, we partner with colleges and universities to assist their first-generation population for easy transition from high school to college. So if you're looking for a presenter or a speaker that presents on these topics and so much more, visit our website at thefinkleyexperience.com and learn about all that we do. We're looking forward to working with you.
Hello everybody, welcome back to the Michael Finkley Show. Now y'all, my next guest, she is a certified career coach. She's an author and she's a dear friend as well. Y'all, is none other than Coach Ivy. Coach Ivy, thanks for being with us today.
Thanks for having me. It is truly an honor and a pleasure. I've been in line for a long time, I believe. Waiting my turn. I'm here. We live. I'm here.
But you right here. You right
I'm here.
And we appreciate you. We appreciate you, y'all. We go way back, y'all. We kind of go way back. Some of the things that she's doing is just so amazing. And one aspect of those things is that you have a passion for discussing the topic of bullying in the workplace, which is a growing trend. And so people need to know what's happening and how they can prevent these type of things. But before we dive into it, in your own words professionally, what does bullying mean?
Oh my, bullying is any type of behavior or verbiage that another person experiences to the point where they're uncomfortable or they feel intimidated. In my own words, in the workplace. That's it.
Mm-hmm. And even when it comes down to bullying, when you think of bullying, you think of, you're on the playground and you see this big person, they're bullying this little person, or, anywhere else besides the workplace. How did this even begin? Like, how can this start in the workplace?
Yeah. And I think it starts with the playground. Mm-hmm. It starts with those who were bullied on the playground. They become adults, right? They become adults. And so if it's not corrected, then it then comes out of them, and so it's transferred. It's deferred behavior. It's learned behavior. So it tends to either be those that always bullied themselves and it was never corrected, or those that were bullied, even in the home. You have parents that are bullies, and then again, that behavior transfers as it's learned by their child. And again, it's untapped, it's untamed, uncorrected behavior. And so once they're in the workplace, that's the nature of what they know. And so that's how you'll see it a lot in supervisors, because that's an opportunity for it to rise up. And then they have those that are subordinates, and they're able to really have their way, and bullying tends to be a control mechanism as well. So you need people that you can control. So that's why a lot of times you'll see it show up in leaders. Most often. So, again, it starts at the home, honestly.
Wow. That's incredible to hear how that a small thing, right? We think it's small. Some people think it's small.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
If it's not resolved in a childhood, it can follow you into your adult life, and you can still bully someone, but in a different way.
Absolutely.
Authoritative way. What are some examples of bullying in the workplace? What does that look like?
Some examples, and I have plenty, but I'll narrow it down to two. So one example is, and a lot of it, right, when you think about bullying, you're not necessarily being physically pushed around or anything like that. It's more or less with tactics, right? And so one of them is, trying to get people to do what it is you want them to do. The whole get on the bus, the whole get in line, kind of concept. Those kind of, statements are controlling statements. And so then at that point, you feel like your job is being threatened. And they have the tendency to make those types of comments as if your job is on the line if you don't do as I say, right? So that's pushing people around. Intimidation at its finest is bullying, right? Coming into their space and questioning them as if they are not being honest about certain things. That's a level of bullying as well. Embarrassing people in front of others, especially in the midst of a meeting. That's bullying. Chastising them in front of other people, even if it's one other person, is considered bullying. And so you just have to be mindful. Isolating them, putting them on a blacklist, telling others not to talk to them is bullying, and so there's a lot of different tactics that's considered to be bullying in the workplace.
Well, I must ask this question because you gave an example of a list, right? Even after a person is gone and they put you like on a blacklist not to hire for that company anymore, is that still a form of bullying?
That's very much a form of bullying. And that's a great question. We don't talk about that as much, but you can still be bullied and not be with the company anymore. right? And so, I mean, even at the state level, I've seen people not be able to get jobs because that person that was bullying them has some type of influence across lines, right? And so they're still going to find a way to control you, even outside of you being under their tutelage. Absolutely.
Wow, that has happened to me. That
Yes.
has definitely happened to me where I was employed as an employee, but I came back to try to do some work under my consulting firm, and I got to know.
Yes.
I got to know, and I know why I got to know.
Absolutely.
So, wow. I'm being bullied, y'all. Being bullied.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. Y'all cut it out.
Cut it out. So who exactly is being bullied? You talked about the higher ups being the bullier, but who are usually the bullies?
Yeah, well, first of all, women tend to be more bullied than men, but it does happen to men as well. And yes, so not only women as far as a category, but those that are mid-level to your entry-level employees. Those are the ones that typically are being bullied, but it tends to roll down the hill. So you can have multiple tiers, multiple levels of people that are being pushed around in a sense, because again, it rolls down. If the senior level supervisor is being, bullied in a way, right, then it's going to come down on everybody else because that pressure. And a lot of times that's where it comes in at the higher level, that senior level, VP level, right? It's that pressure that they're getting, and then their antics, they get into panic mode. I don't know if you've ever seen that, where they're panicky and they're scared, because a lot of people thrive off of titles and they don't want to lose their spot, and a lot of times they've gotten to that space. They've worked their way up. They came in entry level, they worked their way up. Now they're senior level, and now they're going to fight to hold that spot. And they get intimidated by some people as well. And so you'll see that pressure come from the top, but you'll see that internal pressure come where they're trying to fight to keep their place at the table as well. And so again, it'll just start to squeeze down, and it'll squeeze down and onto others at every level. And so again, to answer your question, it's typically women. It's typically women on women crime, right? If I had to say that, how they say crime on crime, right? So it's usually women, that bully other women. That's typically what you see. You will see men in authoritative roles bully women as well, or men, but what you mostly see is women in those leadership roles bullying those that are in those mid to entry level positions. And I will take a step out to say also, you see it more so amongst women of color. Yes, it's really bad amongst women of color.
That's another conversation for another day. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Even more so now, I got this information from Workplace Bullying University, and they said that 43% of bullying takes place towards people that are working remotely. How is that possible?
You would think you would need to physically be somewhere, right? But again, it's not like it's a physical thing that happens. It's all these different tactics, right? I mean, I even had a young lady that I was coaching, working from home, and they were in a meeting, and they will do certain things like just cut her camera off and mute her, right? I mean, there's all types of tactics, even in the remote space, to bully people around. They'll be in this long meeting and someone will finally say, hey, I've got to use the restroom. Okay, well, you get 3 minutes. Tying them to, yes, it's that kind of controlling behavior that is still considered bullying, but you just don't quite place it there because you're not in the workplace per se. But it's still happening, and there's still pressure. And, a lot of people have moved to the remote space now, but at this point, a lot of people are even running from that, right? We have a lot of people that are running to the entrepreneurial space at this point. And so, as I say to people all the time, people don't tend to quit jobs, they quit people. And so we're still able to interact even like this in a remote space. And so those types of bullying conversations and attempts to intimidate still happen amongst supervisors and those that they supervise. All right. So we don't have to physically be in a workplace or in the same space, for me to, put your back against the wall, threaten your job, have you sign off or do projects that are out of the scope of what you're supposed to be doing, or else.
Yeah.
Right.
Well.
Yeah. Or else. I mean, especially those that are raising children by themselves, they tend to be targeted as well. And so, and we have found that a lot of those people that are working remotely are those people, right? They tend to be, and some men are raising children as well, but you mostly have women that are home, going back to the women category, that are home working remotely. And so they need their job. They need their job, to take care of their children. So you tend to see them get pushed around a little bit more.
Wow. And I definitely feel, because you know so much about it, has this happened to you? And what did you do?
Yes, absolutely. And it started on the playground. And so, it started on the playground for me. And then it trickled over into the bus, and then it was in the cafeteria. Right. And then as I started working in the workplace, it started happening to me. I started working at 14, and it just carried on. So it went from the playground in the hallways to the workplace. And so it has definitely happened to me throughout my career. And so at this point, I've definitely had different experiences, again, coming from the childhood bullying and what that looks like, and then what it looks like in the workplace. And while it's the same feeling or similar feeling, it's different tactics, of course, but very much the same. And so it took me a long time to acknowledge that I was being bullied in the workplace, because I was an adult. Mm-hmm. Like, are you kidding me? Like, that's something you associate with children. Exactly. But yes, just throughout being in school, just simply because I wore glasses in school. Just simple things, right? And then again, it just trickled over into the workplace. And so I've probably, over the course of, my actual professional career, I've probably had one job, one employer where it didn't occur. But for the most part, probably 5, 6 different employers, positions. Yeah, I've experienced it on some level.
How did you handle that?
Yes. So, for a long time, I didn't know how to handle it. Right. I really didn't. I remember exploding at one point when I was working for an employer. Like, I literally had a physical meltdown explosion because it was my supervisor. It's like, what do? You can't really confront them. They're already telling their boss on you, as it is. So it's like, I just exploded. I remember that I exploded, and, it was the end of the day. And I remember just kind of pushing everything on my desk. And I was like, I'm over this. And my coworkers were like, what's going on? Calm down. So I'm out of here. It wasn't even time to get off of work. I snatched my purse and I left. I was over it. And so over the years, I've had to learn to control that temper, of course, control that anger. And how do you channel that? Right. And so then that's when I began to, as it happens, as I aged, of course, as I matured, and as it continued to happen to me, I just learned how to deal with it differently. And so I went from dealing with it as far as an outrage to, I started to actually write about it. And so I would journal about it. And then I also kept someone close in the workplace that I could talk to, because it makes you feel crazy. Right. And you're like, is it really me? Especially when I've been dealing with it all my life. It makes you go inward, and so you have the self-reflection, and it's like, what is it about me? I know I'm not perfect. I know I talk hard, I know I'm not everybody's cup of tea. I get it. I'm not the softest, daintiest person either. And, I'm not all warm and fuzzy. I know, but what is it about me? And so, so for me, later on in my career, I began to really journal about it, but I also found my voice in all of it too. And I began to really advocate for myself. I began to advocate for myself, finding out what the policies and procedures were, just being really bold and like, I'm not going to continue to take this, again, if I'm not doing something in terms of my job performance, let's talk about that. Mm-hmm. But these different antics are out of the scope of my work performance and out of the scope of just general common regard and respect for a human being, so speaking up for myself, journaling, having a good friend to help me cope. There were many days where the best I could do was get to my car and I just fall apart crying, you know? And so, and just at the end of the day, I just had to sit in it and realize that that's what was happening. So embracing it too is what I had to do as well. So then you begin to recognize it when it happens. So you can call a thing as you see it kind of rearing its head again.
Wow. And it's amazing you give those tips that how you made it through. Right. But when we come back, we're going to talk about additional tips to prevent bullying in the workplace, and also talk about your brand new book as well, your survival kit, Bullying Built Me. Y'all, don't you go away. Back in a moment.
Next, Coach Ivy gives us tips and advice on how to prevent bullying in the workplace. Back in a moment.
Hey, what's up? It's actress and singer Christine Horn, and you are watching The Michael Finkley Show. Boom.
And the survey says, we appreciate you so much for watching.
Colors. What the? Oh, God. This one. Yeah, right, Marine. So I guess we don't stand for colors, huh? I'm sorry. I was starving. What was you eating on anyway? Let me put you on. This that Lucy's hoopie pie. Okay. Hey, but before you go, Marine, what can I get me one of those? Oh, at all the Super Target locations, Sergeant. Okay. And where can you get your chart sheet at in the morning? On your desk. As long as we track it.
Need a little motivation? Timothy Clifton is with us every week on Mondays to get your week started with a little motivation, all here on The Michael Finkley Show.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to The Michael Finkley Show. We're still chatting with Coach Ivy, and she is now going to give us some tips and advice on how to prevent bullying in the workplace. Can it be prevented, Coach?
Absolutely. It can indeed be prevented. Now, you know, I share tips with individuals as they come to me, as they find themselves being bullied. But here's the thing. It can be prevented. And I think it starts at the top. That's my opinion. It starts at the top. When you set precedents and you establish a no tolerance for bullying, but we're not having those conversations. Right. But I think that if we have those conversations, it needs to come with the onboarding as far as HR is concerned. It needs to come from the executive leadership. If you got your presidents, your principals, or whomever at the top of that hierarchy, it has to be set there. And then you have to set and establish policies and procedures for individuals to follow if they find themselves in that place. Because then what happens is, again, it puts teeth to what you just said about no bullying, right? And so I feel like those are ways to prevent it. Training is essential. We've got to start doing professional development and training and having these conversations and training individuals on how to supervise, because again, it tends to come from those who are in leadership positions who supervise other people. And a lot of times we tend to promote individuals or bring individuals into leadership roles, and we do not train them. You've got to train them. Just because they know the content for which you're asking them to do doesn't mean they have essential, effective people skills, right? It doesn't mean they are equipped with interpersonal skills. It doesn't mean they know how to communicate, right? And so you have to train your leadership team, but it's got to come from the top. it can indeed be prevented. I even envision stickers, just like we've got stickers for everything else. I want the no bullying sign with the slash cross it around the facilities, around the campuses, around the schools, to let it be known that that will not be tolerated here. So indeed, it can be prevented, but it starts from the top, establishing that no tolerance zone and training and professional development amongst our leaders.
Oh, wow. And I'm so glad you mentioned like the whole starting from the top, HR, having it trained, having them saying it's okay to report, right? Yeah. Those type of things. Are there any, just curiosity here, are there any laws that govern this type of activity, or is it just based on company policy and procedure?
It's simply based on company policy and procedure, which is still very rare. Mm-hmm. So there's no laws or necessarily any kind of policies that are in place that actually address bullying. And so it's one of those things where it's really your word against theirs. That's where we are. And so if you don't find yourself in a position where you can say there's some type of inadequacy or some type of discrimination, if you can't call those things unfairness, if you can't really call and prove those things in itself, then bullying by far is going to be acknowledged. And so, and I remember talking to someone in law, and I wanted to understand, and here in the state, what are my rights here? And at the end of the day, even me being a brown person wasn't an issue, and I remember, because I have a young son, and I remember the lawyer saying to me, man, I wish you were still pregnant, because then we'd have something. And I'm like, wow. Yes. So unless it's truly a situation where you can narrow it down to pure discrimination, then there's no conversation. And we know that bullying is beyond discrimination. Bullying doesn't discriminate. Bullying doesn't discriminate. I have to tell people that all the time. And so, no, there's not. There's not any real things in place here, even down to a procedure. I have not seen it yet. And it doesn't mean it doesn't exist, but I haven't seen it.
Right. And this thing happens so frequently and often.
Absolutely.
Universally, that people can look at and adhere to. Wow. But again, you put all of this into your survival kit, right? Bullying. Yeah. I love the name. Bullying. Yes. Tell us about this selection and what it entails.
Yeah, so bullying built me. So I got to start with the title, right? Going back to our conversation in terms of how it started with me, so because I endured it for so long, even in my childhood, it contributed to who I am, right? It contributed to, the professional that I've become, the leader that I've become. Now, have I made mistakes? Absolutely. In the workplace as a leader, absolutely. But going through these experiences over the years, and, really taking a step back, I realized that it had really made me stronger, right? It's not something that anybody should have to endure, but I always like to look at the glass half full. What did I learn from this? And it taught me that I was strong. Like, wow, I didn't know you was that strong. You a tough chick, and so considering all that I had gone through and endured. And so that's where bullying built me. It built me. And so what it entails is it's a nice little twist between some of my actual experiences, real life experiences, coupled with some actual tips. It's a step guide, right? It's a guide to help people to really track the process and to really navigate that world, especially when there's really nobody to run to. And so how do you get through that when you can't go knocking on the doors of the principal's office necessarily, right? I mean, it's like being a kid. It's like, you can't go to the principal's office, right? And so, there's really no file to complete and turn in. There's really no such thing. And so we really have to kind of figure out how to navigate that on our own. And so that's where the tips came in to play. I felt like not only did I need to share that it happened to me, but I needed to make it real for individuals that didn't know what to call it. And so once we label it, then we're able to now work through it. And so here's the steps. Here's my experiences. And now based upon how I was able to survive it, you can survive it too. If you follow these steps, if you put in the work and do what you need to do, I promise you there's light on the other side of this.
Oh, I'm so glad there is.
Yes.
I'm so glad there is. How can the Fink fam, how can they purchase your amazing survival kit?
Yes, it is on Amazon. It's on Amazon.com. And there's the ebook version as well as the version that they can actually hold in their hands. Some people actually want a paper copy. But then you can also go to my website, www.ivorygraycareer.com. You can order it there if you want a signed copy. So I will sign it and send it to you, which is always my favorite. So I can write something encouraging and sign it.
Yes, y'all go get the signed copy. Go to the website, get the signed copy. And how can they continue to follow you on social media?
Yes, and so it's at Ivory Gray Careers, and that's on Instagram and Facebook. And then I'm also on LinkedIn as Ivy K. Ingram.
All right, you heard it here, everybody. Awesome advice. I learned a lot. I hope you learned a lot as well, Fink fam. Thank you, Coach Ivy, for being with us and just telling us your story, your experiences, your expertise in your own words. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Back in a moment, y'all.
My name is Malia. My name is Faith. You are watching the Michael Finkley Show.
Keeping your skin flawless and clean is important, and I have the products just for you. Welcome to Mimi's Natural Pantry, where she specializes in homemade handcrafts, including lye and goat milk soaps, body butters, and sugar scrubs. All items are handmade products. All items have simple ingredients and are vegan friendly. In a world where you can barely pronounce many of the ingredients in your everyday products, Mimi's Back to Nature offers an alternative choice for those who are ready to get back into nature. Ready to order? Visit their website at mimisnaturalpantry.com. All orders over $50 have free shipping up to 25 pounds.
Hey everyone, here's an Inspire Me moment in 60 seconds. And today's thought is, a hunch is creatively trying to tell you something. You ever hear that small inner voice saying, go for it? What are you waiting for? When you get that gut feeling it's time, then I want to encourage you to move. Yes, I know that you've experienced some setbacks through the past experiences. You need to know that it's okay to step out into that space and place and try again. The only thing that beats a failure is trying again. Don't let the creative spirit just sit there. Let it manifest to the next big thing besides you know you want to. Hey, that's all I got for today. Remember to do all of the things on social media. Now go out and make today absolutely amazing.
As always, thank you for doing all the social media things such as like, comment, follow, subscribe, and share this message on all your media platforms. Even more, hit the bell notification so you never miss a video or an upload.
Hey, what's going on? It's the multi-award winning recording artist, etc., and you're watching the Michael Finkley Show.
All you ever wanted was a good dude. All I ever...
On the next Michael Finkley, Marty A. Johnson is here as he talks with us about his brand new season of his show, his fantastic team, and future plans. Next Finkley, Monday. Hello everybody, welcome back to the Michael Finkley Show. I hope that you learned something today from our guest. Thank you so much, Coach Ivy, for being with us and giving us those strategies and methods needed to prevent bullying in the workplace. Thank you so much. We really appreciate it. If you're not already, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, The Michael Finkley Show. Ring the bell notification. We'll see an email saying, hey, new content's uploaded. Please listen to us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. And for more information about what we do here, visit our website, michaelfinkleyshow.com. Of course, YOU42, visit us and also our content at YOU42.com. And some exclusive things coming soon, I promise you. Thank you so much for watching, and guess what? We'll see you next time. Have a good one.